Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Mystic in Training podcast with me, your host, Melissa Amos. I am super excited to be bringing this for you because I created this space with probably the most important thing in mind, me. I created this space because I needed it. I created this space because I know what it's like to be in the awakening, to be in the space of I'm moving into something else and I can't quite see what it is that's becoming. When actually, what I've realized that in this search of purpose, in this search of power, in this search of peace, in this wondering whether or not our voices are needing to be heard, if they're good enough, if they're too much, if they're too little, that this isn't you being broken, which is something that I felt for a long time. This is actually more of a becoming. This is us becoming who we were meant to be. And with that, there comes an unraveling. With that comes the what on earth kind of moments. With that comes the questions and the doubts. And what I've realized is that it can feel really lonely. It can feel like we're the only ones going through this. It can feel like no one understands what's happening, especially with what I see with myself, with the people that I work with, that we're becoming something so different, that we're walking a different path to what other people have done before us, that actually we're trailblazing. And the trouble with trailblazing, however exciting it is in the moments when you're sitting there going, yes, I'm doing it, it's terrifying. And there's nobody that stepped the path before us. So we're there with our cutters, cutting down all of the jungle in front of us, not really quite sure what it is that's ahead, not knowing really whether we're going off in the right direction, and using the one thing that we've really had trained out of us our whole life, our intuition, to guide us there because there's nobody else before us. And so if you've been feeling like you're unraveling, you're in those WTF moments that you are wondering whether it's all worth it, I'm here to say that perhaps what's happening is that you are becoming the bridge, that you are becoming the version of you that was always meant to guide and that was always meant to lead. You're becoming the version of you that really is going to be changing the world. But maybe right now, you're in that stage of doubt, of unraveling, of wondering, of letting go of the old layers and before you really quite understand what the newness is. And I know because I've been there and I'm still there and I'm still going through it with every unraveling and with every next level that we reach, then there becomes a new one. And even this podcast, it's been sitting in my notes app for a while. And then probably a month or two ago, I really had this urge to get this out there. And when I sat with it and wondered, what is it? What's the message? What is it that I'm saying? Is anyone even going to listen to this? And I stopped and I breathed and I heard the words come again, mystic in training. It reminded me I had the same fears and the same doubts when I wrote my book, Memoirs of a Mystic in Training. And those words came to me then, the title of those words, Memoirs of a Mystic. And I thought, that sounds a bit big. That sounds a bit much. Who are you calling a mystic? And then those words in training just came as this softening, as this realization, as this understanding that this isn't because I or anyone else is more special than anyone else. It's because we're all special. It's because we're all mystics in training. And the purpose of being in that space and being in that training and being in that space of learning and wondering is a powerful position. It's not that we're not enough. It's not that we need to seek more. I discovered recently that my Enneagram is a 5, which is the continual seeker. My human design is completely set up for me to want to know everything about everything. And the shadow with that is that you may never feel ready. that you just always feel like you need one more piece of information, that you need one more set of circumstances, that you need one more act of permission. But what if we're just all eternal mystics in training? And in that moment, I knew that this podcast needed to be born. In that moment, I knew that I needed to get over my own doubts and my own procrastinations, even before hitting record on this, when I was sitting there deleting emails. It's not helping anyone. It's helping my Google Drive, not have so many emails, but it's not helping anyone. And so this podcast is for you and my dedication to my work and my dedication to you. And ultimately, as I started this, my dedication to myself, to give that permission to become, to give that permission to unravel, to give that permission to question, to give that permission to doubt, and to give that permission to ponder. I am a muse. I love to just wonder and ponder and muse about things. It was when I was growing up, it was what was always in my school reports. She was daydreaming all the time. If only she would focus more, if only. And it's like, who knew that I was allowing for myself to become this, that I was training for this moment, where my superpower is in the pondering, in the wondering, in the philosophical discussion. And so this podcast is for you if this resonates, if you are a mystic in training, a soul seeker, a divinely led human, or at least you kind of want to be. If there's some depth there, if you're bored of the surface level conversations, if you just love a bit of nuance, if you want to know how intuition works in real time, if you're open to learning a truth, that the truth the next day might be something completely different. And today, for this very first episode, I want to say that you're not broken, you're becoming. That those questions of all of those things that maybe you've worked towards for all of your life, that level of safety, however safe it really is or not, that you have cultivated over the days, the years, the months, the weeks, they may be falling down. You may be wondering if it's worth it. And I'm going to tell you time and time and time again that your intuition, this divine guidance, this urge to want to walk the unbeaten path and to get that machete out and to cut down the foliage and to cut down the branches and to cut down those obstacles and not use them necessarily to burn and to destroy, but to use them as your path forward, to help you understand that what it is that you're clearing the way to something better. What it is that you're doing is learning how to be the person that you are, that will lead, that will guide, that will share, that will, I promise, be understood. And it takes you understanding yourself first. And my hope with this podcast and with these musings that we'll be sharing over the coming weeks, that it will just give you that level of knowing that you are here and that you're meant to be here and that it's okay. And that there's somebody here walking alongside a path, going through similar struggles to you. And that there is something on the other side. There's always something on the other side. And it takes faith and it takes trust and it takes courage and it takes knowing. And that's why I started this. Because I think that we've been silenced for too long. I think that it's this great joke that especially our generation, and especially people who are more spiritually inclined, that we have been fed the narrative that this knowing can't be trusted, that we need to bring the mind first. But actually, we have three intelligence centers. Yes, we have our mind, which is the one that we have been told to prize, which is the one that we've been told is the one that we should rely on. Who had this? Make logical choices. Get your list out, do your pros, do your cons, work it all out, make a decision from there. And you can make a decision from there, from your mind. But then something in your heart feels like it's wrong. You can make the best logical decision, but then something in your heart is telling you, no, this isn't right. Yes, this might lead me to the money or to the security or to the status or to the acceptance or to the whatever it is that we believe is important. And this second intelligence that we have in our heart, in this emotional center, might be telling us a different story. And when we ignore it at our peril. Because then when we're going down that path, we're relying just on the brain and we become these like heads, right? That are just walking around like without the fuel, disconnected from what I call the divine intelligence, what you might call our inner world, our inner being, our inner emotion. But this heart holds an incredible amount of knowledge. But it goes beyond knowledge. It goes beyond facts. It goes beyond logic. It's tapping into something greater. And when we can bring these together, this isn't about disregarding the mind. The mind is brilliant. I love my mind. My mind's got me to some amazing places, and I spent my whole life prizing my mind. I spent my whole life proving that I was quite clever despite my tendencies to daydream and to go off into my own imaginative worlds. I was underestimated in that way for a lot of my life. And taking myself through uni and work that I did, it was part of it was like, well, look how clever I am. You know, youngest in my family and the only daughter and all the things. And the other things that I felt were important then. My mind was something I prized, but when we do that at the cost of our heart, well, then it leads to burnout because we don't have the fuel to take us there. Then it leads to that doubt. Then it leads to that low level anxiety that I experienced when I was working in what seemed to be an incredible job, what seemed to have everything, what seemed to be a young girl's dream. And I was there and I was living it. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Am I broken? It's because my heart wasn't listened to until the day that I found Reiki. And then my heart started talking so loud that I couldn't ignore it. And so, yes, our brain has an intelligence and it's incredible. But if it's not guided by the heart, well, then we are missing out on a whole world. And then we have our third center, our third brain, which is our gut. And we all know about our gut instinct. And even science now is calling this our second brain. The heart, you look at the work from the Heart Math Institute, it's showing you just quite how intelligent, which goes beyond knowledge, how intelligent the heart is. But then we have our gut. And so much scientific research has gone into how clean and well nourished our gut is can influence our whole well-being, including our mind. And we know this, right? When we've eaten something bad, we had a few days of junk food, it can affect our brain, it can affect our clarity, right? So we know this, but also the gut for me is that instinctual place. And it might even, some people think of it as the seat of our intuition. Even in Chinese medicine, we speak about this center that sits below the belly button, this center of our life force. And from here, this taps into the invisible world. From here, this taps into this knowing that goes beyond. From here, we tap into not just our past and all of the things that have happened to us, all of the experiences that we've had as a human, that are trying to keep us safe. But when we think about our whole intuition center, which is comprised of both the instinct and something bigger, a kind of greater self, well, then we're now tapping into not just our logic, not just what our brain wants to tell us, not just what makes sense, not just what our emotional capacity is, not just what love would do and what our heart desires, but also into this. Oh, a magpie just flew right outside my window as I said that. I love a magpie. But also, it taps into this form of inner knowing, of inner wisdom, this kind of voice that says, what if? What if? Try it. Which, by the way, may activate our fears. And we'll talk about that another day. It may activate our fears. I kind of think that's the point. I kind of think that's what it's meant to do. I don't think we're meant to live this life avoiding anything that we're scared of. Our intuition and fear don't exist on separate planes. Our intuition might lead us straight towards our fears, and that's okay. Because our intuition will also guide us into how to get over that and how to become that. And so for me, it's not just about ignoring one or ignore and letting the other lead. I think that's part of this misinformation that comes in. I think that part of our journey is really allowing for those three centers to come together: the head, heart, gut, and attuning them all into, well, what is my higher self? What is my wiser self guiding me towards? What is it that I'm becoming? Who is it that I'm going to be helping? Because even if you're listening to this and you've had one feeling, you've had one sense of understanding, you've had one feeling of compassion or gratitude or empathy, it begins to activate something in you. And if I can do this simply by sitting at my desk and hitting record and posting it on some platforms with, I said at the beginning, with the full measure of this success of how expressed am I? Because I'm doing this for me. But by doing this for me, I'm doing this for you because I'm giving to you what I have. My head told me 100 reasons why this podcast was a good idea. It had also told me 100 reasons, probably told me 125 reasons why it isn't. My heart was guiding me in some way, like what would love do? And my gut was going all over the place, driving me on the one hand and also causing me to hide and procrastinate and talk about it and not actually doing anything on the other hand. But it's when we bring these things together that the real magic happens. And I hope as you hear these words, you're listening beyond the words. You're listening also to the transmission. You're listening also, you're feeling, you're tuning in also to the sentiment. Because I do believe that we are all mystics in training. I believe that you are a mystic in training. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to this either. And so, my invitation for you today is to just ask yourself, what would you say to the version of you that's still hiding somewhere? What would you say to that version of you who wants to come out but isn't sure whether anyone will listen? Go and ask her that. And if this episode resonated with you and you have an answer to this, you want to contemplate this, I'd love to hear from you. You can send me a message. You can let me know what's landed. I'm available across the platforms. Follow me on Facebook. I hang out there way too much. And this one's for you, the mystics in training. And if that's who you are so welcome in my world, because I think that we've got some great work to do. I would love to connect. Send me a message. Let me know what that inner voice said to you. Let me know what landed and let me know what you'd love me to contemplate on. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you download it. Show a little love so that I know that this has landed with you and that my head, heart, and gut were leading me into the right place. And I can't wait to connect a little further and a little more and a little deeper in the next episode of Mystic in Training. Bye for now.